Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at the order of operations. So our goal by the end of this lesson is to be able to know the order of operations and apply them correctly in multiple different scenarios. As always, we're going to start off by grounding ourselves in a reality and something real. So this was, I think it was last year, maybe last fall, this viral example came up. And there was much a lively debate on, I think it was like Facebook or Twitter, I can't remember where, but it made multiple news articles. I know that like mainstream news sources were like publishing this, and a lot of people were basically not agreeing on the answer, not sure how to go about it. So 8 divided by 2 times, in parentheses, 2 plus 2. So this problem hits some of the most common misconceptions about the order of operations, and we're going to be able to concretely solve this by the end of the video today. So what we're going to do first is go through the order of operations, and then we're going to come back to this in the last part of the lesson. And that way we can take this and we can concretely say the answer is blank, because in that way, if this ever comes up again and if it ever goes viral again, you'll be an authority on it and you'll be able to explain your reasoning perfectly. So we are going to come back to this, and we're going to be those math students that know the answer to those problems that go viral because people disagree on them. So our definition for today, we are looking at the order of operations. All right, so I'm going to write that on in. And the definition for this is, these are the rules that state the sequence for solving an expression. So for example, if we had something like 2 plus 4 times 8, let's say we're just starting out in our math career, we're going to be like, all right, I'm going to go left to right because that's how I read a book. So I'm going to do 2 plus 4 first. I'm going to get 8 times 8 equals 64. But maybe someone else is like, I'm feeling a little bit whimsical today. Maybe I want to go right to left instead. So I'm going to do 32 plus 2 to get me 34. So the exact same expression here is giving us two different answers. So right away, we know that we need a logical sequence that's going to allow us to solve this and basically get the same answer, regardless of order, regardless of how we're feeling that day. And it's going to kind of clarify which one of these two is correct. So let's do our guided notes on the bottom. We'll come back up to the top and we'll see if the one on example number 1 on the left or example number 2 on the right is correct and why. So a lot of different ways to call it. I know PEMDAS is one of the common ones, GEMDAS, a lot of different things, but it boils down to the same concepts either way. So whatever you want to call it is fine with me, as long as we understand the intuition behind it. So parentheses is first, followed by exponents, and then multiplication or division is next, followed by addition or subtraction. So a lot of people see this and they're like, I know that I have to go PEMDAS in that order. I can check them off as I go, and that's actually wrong. P and E, yes, those will always come first. You'll notice the way that I wrote this, though, is that it's almost like levels. So it's like P is level 1, E is level 2, and then level 3 is multiplication or division. So there actually is an order for solving this. So if you get to that third level, you have to look for both multiplication and division, and the order that you answer them in is actually the way that you read a book. So you do go left to right for multiplication and division specifically. So if you ever encounter a problem where you get to that third level with just multiplication, division left, and addition, subtraction as well, you need to go left to right. So division can and sometimes needs to come before multiplication, and the order does matter. So if you do it right to left, that's not going to work for you. It's going to give you a wrong and incorrect answer. And I'm going to clarify that a little bit more because I know that might be a little bit confusing. Finally, your last level with addition and subtraction, this actually doesn't matter. So you have choice. So once you get down to that addition or subtraction level, however you're feeling is totally fine. If you want to subtract first on a given day, go ahead. If you want to add first, go ahead. It's going to give you the exact same answer. So really, it's level 3 with multiplication and division that is going to give us the most, I guess, problems. That's where the most, as a math teacher I've seen over the last few years, the most amount of mistakes come at this level. So left to right, read it like a book. So let's go back up to the top. So if we're thinking about PEMDAS in this order, there's no parentheses, there's no exponents, and then we get to the multiplication or division step. And actually, we want to make sure that we are multiplying before we add. So 2 is correct, and this is incorrect because we need to do this first. We need to multiply first. So this answer of 64 will not work for us, but the answer, number 2 of 34, is going to be the correct answer. All right, so let's go through a quick example of a level 3 type question, and I'll just boil it down to just that. So if we had like 49 divided by 7 times 2, we need to, because this is just multiplication division, again, we need to read this left to right. So we want to do division first, and then we are going to next do multiplication. So it does have to go in that order. So first 49 divided by 7 gives us 7 times 2 is 14. If we did 7 times 2 first, we'd get 49 divided by 14, and that would give us about like 3.5. Not what we're looking for, okay? So 2 different answers, and the correct answer, and there is a correct answer, is 14. So we do have to read it like a book left to right when we're at that third level, we'll call it, of multiplication and division. So if you've seen this before and you've had it explained differently or not clearly or misremembered or any of those common things, just remember, if you take anything out of watching this today, multiplication or division, read them left to right like a book. So important, and I can't emphasize that enough. And I know even though we're spending this time on it now, it's going to come up. We're going to have some ones to practice on it. We're going to make some mistakes, and that's okay. As long as we're making less and less mistakes every time we practice, I am happy. So let's go to some examples here. So these, I would say, are on the like mild to medium difficulty levels of examples. So nothing here is going to be too spicy, and that's on purpose. Let's get confident. Let's practice some of these while we feel a little bit comfortable. I'll do 2 of these, and I'll leave the remaining 4 for you to complete. So what I always like to do, at least somewhere on my page, if I have space, I'll do it for every question. It's just write PEMDAS like that and write out my levels. So like level 1, 2, 3, and 4. So first, level 1, parentheses, I don't see any. So what I'm actually going to do, I'll change my colors. I'm going to cross it out. Next, level 2, exponents. Nope, no exponents. Cross that out as well. Level 3, I do see multiplication and I don't see any division, so I know that I'm going to do that multiplication first. So 10 times 5 gives me 50. I'm doing that first. I'm going to copy this down. Okay. No other division, so we're done with level 3. And again, last level, doesn't matter the order that we do it in, but we only see addition here. And again, order does not matter. I can do 10 plus 50 first or 7 plus 50 first. Same answer either way, so we're on our last steps here. So I'm just going to clearly show that I'm doing 50 times 7 to get 57, still bringing down that 10. Final answer for this question is going to be 67. Something that you'll notice, work products and work quality, really important. Organization, really important for these. So if you do this in the way that I'm doing it now by underlining to show which operation is going where, there's less guesswork involved for you and for me when we go back over these, when we review them. So my recommendation, and I'll say my requirement for full credit, please make sure you are showing which operation and which order you are doing it in. A second thing to note, if you plug in everything into your calculator all at once, your calculator is gonna be like a coin flip. Sometimes it'll get it for you, sometimes it won't. So don't trust your calculator. Okay, trust it for operations. It'll calculate values for you, but it's not a solver. It's a calculator. So it's not going to solve any full questions for you. But if you have trouble with like 10 times 5, absolutely use the calculator for that, but don't plug in multiple steps at once. You can't take it. They can do one step for you at a time. That's all. All right, moving on. Let's go back to green. So writing in my PEMDAS, remembering my levels. Parentheses, I do see those this time. Okay, so let's start there. So this is what we need to do first. A common mistake is that sometimes students will do like one operation in the parentheses and then just go back to solving the question normally. But until we solve everything in the parentheses, they don't go away. So the parentheses are still there. We're just simplifying the insides. And again, back to this. So until we are totally done with these parentheses, they stay with us. So now parentheses totally simplified, they go away. We don't have any exponents. I see multiplication, I don't see division, so let's do that next. And then just one step left here, 60 minus 1 is 59. So again, steps I underline. Use a calculator for the underlined parts, but don't do it all at once. So those are two answers for you. I would recommend, just like I'm doing, PEMDAS in the top corners of these questions. It's never going to lead you wrong. It's a great way to go through and solve these correctly. So before we sign off here, as promised, let's go back to that viral question and let's see if we can do this correctly. And maybe doing this in white for me would be the best way to get this to show up. Okay, so we have PEMDAS. Do we have parentheses? Yes, we do, right here. So let's do this first. So we have 8 divided by 2 times 2. Okay, so now no exponents. We're left with multiplication and division. And we're going to see both. So here is division. 2 times 2 is multiplication. And a majority of arguments that I see online are that M comes before D in PEMDAS, so I have to do 2 times 2. But remember, we read this like a book. We go from the left to the right for that third level. So we have to do division first. This is conclusive. This is the right answer. There is no question about this, okay? So we do have to do 8 divided by 2 to get 4. Bring down that 2. Our last step is multiplication. We get an answer of 8. It is and only is 8. If you were to do multiplication first, you would get 8 divided by 2 times 2, which is 4, and 8 divided by 4 is 2, which is a different answer. So a lot of people are advocating and arguing for 2, not the right answer. We can conclusively say, yes, this answer is 8. There is no other answer. This is the only way to do this. So using the order of operations correctly with a full understanding, no doubt about the answer to this question. We have solved the viral problem. And if you see any other questions like this come up in the future, you know that they are trying to trick you with that level 3 multiplication and division. Read it left to right, just like a book. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. As always, any questions, please let me know. And be sure to finish up those last couple practice problems and submit those. And I will see you in a live session soon.